welcome back to another episode of Kraken's Garage. I'm your host Eric. Thank you for joining me today. Today's video we're going to do a follow-up of our part 2 of our Minimac Bruce interview. Hope you enjoyed the first one. A lot of history, a lot of legacy with this one man that has been riding for damn near 60 years. That's amazing. And to hear about his adventures has been an absolute treat for me, and hopefully for you as well. Now, when we dive into it, we're going to finish that up today. And I thoroughly enjoyed my time spent with Bruce when he came to visit, and I hope he comes back with his wife someday in the future and hangs out for a bit. And we'll grab some bikes in the garage and go for a ride and hit the Blue Ridge Parkway or something. I'm looking forward to the next video. I'm starting to do a lot more vlogging at the beginning and end of each video. The upswing is you get to see some action shots. The downswing is I have no notes in front of me, so it's all from the top of my head. I need to write them down and tape them to the gas tank or something like that. I'll figure it out. Like I said, it's a work in progress. Look at these canopy trees. Love them. Instant shade. I took a look on the news and oh my gosh, Louisiana got beat up. I'll put some pictures up on the screen for you to see of the damage that's happening down there. I hope if you have friends and family down there that they're faring well during this trying times. 2020 certainly has been a tough year for many people on many levels. Let's get to it.
I'll go out for a couple of hours, search out all these little back roads, try to get myself lost. You know, I figured I got the GPS, I can always find my way back home.
Sure.
But and it's just like lately I haven't done much riding with this COVID stuff this year and trying to get caught up on the house and whatnot. But I'll go out and I've been doing a lot of the back roads in our area, and we've got a lot of the Mennonites and that type of farms and whatnot, and that is just all of it. I'm just struck by the beauty of everything.
Yes,
you know?
Yes, the food, the way they dress their barns up, and it's just a different environment.
Yeah. And I enjoy seeing that, and I've really come to appreciate God's creation. You know, drive by and you see these nice manicured almost looking hills and or even going through the forests, or you know, spotting the little creatures that are waiting to jump out in front of you.
Sure.
But I mean, to me it's all good.
What was the best trip you ever took in your 60 plus years of riding? Could have been on the dirt bike when you were a kid, or it could have been across country with your wife. Who knows?
I think probably the best trip I did was down to the back of the Dragon with the Maxi Scoots group.
Okay.
We
Shout out to Maggie.
Yeah, she's good people. We stayed at Hungry Mother State Park.
Okay.
And the riding in that area, you know, over in the southwest corner of Virginia, and I mean, it's just fantastic roads.
I've ridden all of them for the most part. I would argue the back of the Dragon is a lot more enjoyable for me because it's not so commercialized as the tail of the Dragon, and all the squids ripping up and down there, putting you in harm's way.
And all the traffic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the sports car guys, the Corvette
the
guys,
the Corvette, the Porsche guys, they all roll up and you're in for a long haul.
And everybody so they all want to go on Tuesday or Wednesday when they think there's not going to be a lot of traffic, and the tail is just, it's a great ride. I love doing it, but it's too commercial for me.
Okay.
Where, boy, that ride on the back of the Dragon was just, you know, it's like the Dragon, but 32 miles of it.
Okay.
And it was so much fun.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. And
just a beautiful area.
how large of a group were you riding on that Mexico, or did you pair off into half a dozen?
Well,
groups?
we had like 2 groups. When we do our rides like that, you'll have a fast group, and there'll be maybe 6 to 8 of us, and you know, we play boy road racer or something, you know, within reason, and then the tourist group.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
you know, and on that trip, you know, there was enough time. We were there for the better part of the week. So I rode with both groups, and it was fun. I generally I'm not crazy about riding in a big group because there's, you know, everybody has their own thing they do, and some people are
Gas
experienced.
brakes, T-brakes, camera take, picture tip brakes,
Yeah.
and getting that all to weave together and within a group is tough.
Yeah. So anybody that leads a group, kudos to you.
Yeah.
Because I can appreciate the work that goes into designing it and trying to make it all work.
My personal comfort zone for group riding is roughly 3 is kind of where my happy zone, but 5 or 6 is kind of my max zone that I want to ride with. It gets to be too much to make it through all the traffic lights, through traffic or filtering and trying to get to where you're trying to go.
Well,
if people can't keep up.
a couple years ago, I've got some friends in Western Michigan. So I drove from Central New York out to Western Michigan to do the midnight run. They used to have one of the Goldwing clubs there would put this on every year. I was fortunate enough to do the last 2, and they ran it for like 29 years or something like that, to benefit junior diabetes.
Right.
So we met at midnight at this plaza, and then you ride all night through. They had a path through Michigan and end up crossing the bridge up into the UP. And it was unbelievable the amount of people that showed up for that. I've never been, I did Sturgis one year, and I thought, never again. I'm not into that big group thing or that big party thing. When I ride, I want to ride and enjoy it.
Okay.
But this midnight ride, it was unbelievable. The police, I mean, it was so well organized. The police would block off the intersections for us and that. But we did one stretch on 75 North, and as far as I could see ahead of me, all the way to the horizon, was nothing but taillights. And when I looked in the mirror, the same thing heading back, nothing but headlights behind me as far as you could see. They used to pull over 1,000 bikes. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
A big undertaking for the organizers, and they finally, got to an age where they just said they can't do it anymore.
Right.
And it's a shame that nobody else picked that up.
Right.
That was a fantastic
There
ride.
was a scooter run in the Smoky Mountains called the Smoky Mountain Crawl that was pretty much ROMs and lower CC scooters and things like that. I think that has gravitated to hanging out at Barber Museum now.
That was a cool place.
Yeah, definitely. I stopped there when I bought my Vespa and rode it home from Texas. I stopped there. I took 150 pictures. I just was jaw-dropping. But if you haven't been to Barber Museum,
That is a must-see.
if I remember and have enough brain cells, I'll put a link to them in the bottom. Go see it. It is killer.
And it was amazing to see some of the bikes that I had, not my bikes, but the same models and
sure.
on display.
The
And
FJ
they're
1200 from,
unbelievable.
air-cooled, the RD 400 I had that I bought new on the showroom for $1,200. There it is, in
Yeah.
pristine condition.
Yep.
You name it, it is there, dating back to motorcycles with wooden wheels. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that is if for a two-wheel, even the race cars that they have in there too.
Sure.
But for a two-wheel enthusiast, that place was. I spent hours in there.
We're getting a little long-winded here, but 2 other things I want to cover. Bruce is a very accomplished wrench. He is much more accomplished than I am. And he'll buy a bike with a blown motor and then buy a parts bike and swap motors out and tear into it. That's above my pay grade. And, I think you have that on your agenda for your Yamaha Morpheus right now?
Yeah,
And
I
you were
was
going to
kind
put a
of,
larger motor in it?
well, I bought it to do the 400 swap.
Okay.
The
four-
Majesty,
What would be the donor, therefore it's coming out of?
the 400 was in the Majesty.
That's right, okay.
It's a good motor. The Morpheus is a 250. I love the machine. I love riding it. It's low to the ground. You know, it's a completely different kind of a ride.
It's a polarizing bike. People, like most things I own in my life, they either throw up on it or they love it.
Well, like a Helix, you know, the Helix people are, you know, that's the end all.
Sure, and that's the fun part about you. You can have individuality. It's like back in the 50s and 60s, cars had brand recognition, and they've lost that. To me, they all look
They
like
all
you took
look
a
like
bar
a
of soap
jelly
and you
bean.
rounded off the edges, and
Yeah.
here's this year's model. Isn't it great for $50,000?
We changed the tail light. But yeah, the Morpheus it absolutely is unlike anything else out there, other than possibly a Helix. But it's a good motor, and I ended up breaking mine.
Okay.
Being
That's-
stupid, but ran it for way too long, over revved, beyond the red line, and anyways. So anyways, it's a fairly common swap to put the 400 from the Majesty, and they should have made it like that.
Okay.
Because then it is the perfect all-around rider.
Okay. Morpheus is on my list of wish bikes to try. And if I want one and can find one at a reasonable price, I want that royal blue. I think that it almost looked purple.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
it.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
it's a good color.
Yeah.
Mine's black. I added a big Harley style trunk on it.
Okay.
Because there's no carrying capacity really under the seat.
Right.
It does have a small trunk.
Right.
It just
Well, you
barely
have
could get.
you
fit
actually
my
have an
helmet.
actual trunk in the back like a
Yeah.
car, and then you have underneath storage as well. So it's actually a brilliant design. If
It's-
you take a harder look
It's
at it.
probably good for 90% of the people that
Right.
ride, but I do a lot of long distance touring, and well,
I was going to say,
you know, I got my saddlebags that I throw on when I'm taking a trip. I got the trunk and strap a bag on the back with my clothes, and underneath the seat is all filled with, you know, I got my tool repair kit, small
jump
compressor,
pack.
the whole thing. Yeah.
So Bruce just got is this your first silver one?
Yeah, yeah.
And you could still, believe it or not, find, I want to say, these new on the showroom as leftovers at a bargain of a price. There's very few of them out there, last I checked, but they're still out there.
There's a lot of used ones with low miles,
Right.
and I don't understand why people didn't ride them more, because it
Some
is a
old
good
guy
riding
living
bike.
in Caesar World bought one and then put 100 miles on it, and that's it.
You know, I bought this one. This is an 11.
Right.
I bought this in March of this year in Florida, and it had 5,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
You know, I picked it up for a real good price, and
All right, for those that don't know, this is a 650 twin,
600 twin.
600 twin, excuse me.
Yep.
And what other amenities? Does it have ABS?
ABS.
Fuel injected?
Fuel injected. Yep.
Okay.
It's a good running bike in stock form. I think I'm gonna try it with sliders.
Okay.
I haven't had them in any of my other bikes. With my two Majesties, I put in lighter rollers, heavier rollers, mixed them, and you know, tuning it a little bit. I tuned the clutch a little bit on them, and they were good riding bikes. But I had the opportunity to pick this up, and I just thought, well, the Majesty, while I loved it, it was a great riding bike. Just lacked a
Physically
little
fits
bit
you
of power.
better.
But this is a bigger machine, yeah.
Right.
It's heavy, but that didn't bother me being used to riding the Goldwing.
It's also the gold wing of scooters right here.
Yeah, well, that and the 650 Bergman.
A future episode I'm going to do, not today, or I don't want to get into it today because we're getting way too long, but Bruce is going to dark side this, and for those of you that don't know, he's going to install a car tire on the rear of this scooter. He's had great success. In his last gold wing, he dark sided is the term. He had 30,000 miles on one tire and threw it out, replaced it before it was actually worn out. I mean, when it gets down to the bars, that's when he replaced it.
Well,
There's a strong argument there on both sides of that discussion, and that'll make another great episode.
I also dark-sided both Majesties.
Well, there you go. Did
And,
you do the front wheel?
No.
Okay.
No, front wheel. Some guys will run a rear tire and reverse the rotation for the front.
Okay.
I'm not at that, I don't know about that, but I did do a lot of research on dark siding it, and at least for me, it worked out really well. It's not for everybody, and I understand, I understand that. I don't understand the passionate arguments against it. I don't understand the passionate arguments for it. All I can say is I got hella big miles on them. They handled well, especially in the wet.
There it is. That's called real world testimony rather than somebody's hating on it and hasn't even tried it.
And it worked great. It worked good on my Majesties. I've dark-sided the Morphus, and
the offer's on the table. When you dark side this, I hope you'll come back, or maybe I'll come up to New York for a visit, and I would like to do a follow-up on the dark side. I personally have never ridden one with a car tire on it, and would like to experience them and see how I feel about it.
yeah, not all tires will work as well as others, so
Of course.
if anybody's interested, they need to really research it and see what tires are being
Plethora
used.
of information on forums about it. So.
Yeah, you can spend hours and hours and hours, But for a lot of people, it's a non-issue.
Well, I think we'll cut it off there, and thank you for being very gracious and putting yourself out there in front of a camera. It's out of a lot of people's comfort zone. But like Bruce, I've reached a point in my life I really don't care who sees me and how bad I look. At this point, I'm happy to still be here.
Yeah. I'm still breathing, I'm still riding, so everything's good.
Well,
It's just a lot of fun.
Good. Well, it was a great experience getting to hear your perspective on your travels in life, and that's precisely the information I want in this Legacy series on Kraken's Garage. Thank you for joining us.
And that concludes our Minimac Bruce interview, part 2. I hope you enjoyed the episode. My life is enriched having another friend cross my path and enjoy good food, camaraderie, good conversation, and some riding. It doesn't get any better for me in life. And if you are interested in being on my Legacy series, reach out to me, and I have all the typical venues posted down below where you can reach out to me, and we'll set that up and make it happen. In our next video, we're going to do some riding of some back roads in Virginia, and I'll just share some random thoughts. More of an action video. If the weather doesn't come in and squash that, I may have to do some... I have plenty of videos set up for inside filming on rainy days and foul weather and things like that. There's lots to go over, lots of wrenching to do, tools, what works for me and what doesn't work. So I have plenty to share there as well, but like the farmers say, you have to make hay in the sunshine. So if you live in an inclement area and the sun is shining, get off the sofa, get on your bike, and go for a ride. That's what it's all about. Thank you for joining me. Let's go to the outro music. And the Ghost of Bourbon is back, asking you, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button down in the corner. Thank you so much for watching. Peace! Go riding when you can, because it's good for ya!